for the students that are on the call, I typically come to UTC in the fall and spring to do some recruiting for interns and for our engineers. So this is actually the first virtual recruiting event I've ever done. So I'm really excited. I'm a little nervous because I've never done this kind of recruitment platform online. But yeah, as I said, typically I come to UTC, I go to different universities, but I'm just grateful to have this opportunity, especially during the summer, kind of getting a head start, getting me back in the groove of recruitment. So, you know, first things first, I typically like to know who's in my audience when I am presenting and talking to students. So students, if you'd like to use the chat feature and just let me know your name, maybe what major and what class in school you are, that'd be really helpful. Tdot is statewide, really throughout the state of Tennessee. And so it's just good to see where the audience is and where students are from. And I'm sure that the last few months have been a little strange and uncertain for you, especially as students. I'm not sure if y'all are transitioning to remote throughout the fall, but I hope you know that Tdot's kind of been in the same boat. We've had to adapt to this new way of work. And we were pretty lucky in a sense that we were able to be progressive about the next steps for us. And so right now, most of our employees are working from home. The other half are doing remote field work. So it is a little different than how we do things, but I hope y'all find comfort that even working professionals, we are in the same boat. But before I get started, I just want to introduce myself. My name is Juliana Guglielmi. I work for Tdot, the Tennessee Department of Transportation. I've been with Tdot for, I guess, 5 years now. Started in HR and have continued in HR throughout the years. I typically focus on recruitment, special projects, and learning and development programs for Tdot. So I really enjoy working with universities, especially the career centers and the advisors and professors, really building those relationships so that we can build a partnership between the schools and Tdot. So that's something I really enjoy. So let me see. I don't know if I have access to the group chat, so I'm not sure if people are responding, but if not a big deal. I know that we have some engineers in the School of Engineering with UTC and construction management as well. So please feel free to use the group chat. If you want to use the mic and ask questions, that's fine as well. So if y'all can tell, I am here in the office. I have been working from home, but I decided to come in. I'm at my standing desk right now. I have a nice little view of the Capitol there. So it's nice to have a little change of scenery. I think I'm one of 3 people on my floor right now. So not very busy here. But I'll go ahead and get started. I'm going to share my screen. All right, Nicole, thumbs up, you can see. Okay, good. All right, well, again, thank y'all so much for logging into this. I really just wanted to give a brief introduction to Tdot, what we do, who we are, and really where you can fit in with all that. So as y'all are in school, you might be freshmen, you might be sophomores or juniors and seniors, talking about careers and career progression is so important. It's why you're in school. And it's helpful, I think, too, to get an introduction to different industries, even if you are set on a traditional career path within your major or not. So I hope that throughout this presentation, you can just get some insight into state government, public service, the transportation side of it as well. We have so much to offer here at Tdot, just because we aren't just strictly transportation, we do so much more. So I am glad that y'all have the opportunity to learn a little bit more and get to know what we do. As I mentioned, we are state government, so it is really a public service industry. So one of the reasons that I've continued working for Tdot is because of the public service aspect. I always enjoyed helping people and giving back, and so it really just felt natural to me to start at Tdot and then continue my career in human resources with Tdot. I like to say that, you know, a lot of industries, some of our contractors, and other companies that we work with are really service or really profit driven. So a lot of their work is based on the money they bring in and their outputs. For us, we are completely service driven. So our customers really are the state of Tennessee and the travelers of Tennessee. So really focus on our citizens and really providing our customers the best service. Let me forward. Oops. All right, as I said, y'all, I'm working through this first virtual recruitment presentation. Typically, I'm in a classroom, so we'll get through it. So just really quick, a little bit about who we are. As I said, we are state government, but we're so much more than that. We are focused on transportation, so really within all the realms of that. Most people, I like to ask my classes when I speak, what do students think of when they think of Tdot? And I get a lot of construction, and you do the maintenance on the roads, or you're the big yellow trucks that drive around and help people, and we're all of that, but we actually do so much more. We are a multimodal agency, so we have responsibilities not just in construction and maintenance. We also do aviation. We have a hand in public transit. We do waterways and railroads, and we actually have a cycling and walking pedestrian program. So really, when you think of transportation, you have to encompass all those different aspects in it, and know that Tdot within Tennessee has a hand in those. If you'll see here on the screen, you'll see our mission and vision. I like to include that just because having a mission vision is so essential for an organization, because it gives us goals and direction, how our employees, why we go to work every day, what purpose do we have? And so you'll see that our mission really is to provide a safe and reliable transportation system. And our goal is to improve the transportation system, and we want to promote our employees, and we want to strengthen the trust of our customers, which again are the state, the citizens and travelers of Tennessee. So when you are looking into different careers and industries, I really encourage you to look at that organization's mission and vision and see if it aligns with your goals and your values, because that's really what will drive you at work, and really give you just insight on why you're there and what you should focus on. So I like to encourage students to really, when you're exploring different career paths and different companies, take a look at their website and see what their mission and vision says. Just a little bit about Tdot. We have around 4,100 employees across the state. So we are actually we have Tdot employees in every county. So we have 95 counties. So that's a lot of employees, and we cover a lot of different ground. We are headquartered in Nashville. So that's where I am right now, in downtown Nashville. But we also have our regional facilities in Jackson and Nashville, Knoxville, and Chattanooga. I'm sure some of y'all might have seen Tdot traffic and our employees probably out on the roads. Well, we have a very big regional location there. And we actually have quite a few UTC students that are interns and also full-time employees once they graduate. So, so again, we are located throughout the entire state. And again, just that focus on multimodal. We don't just cover one area of transportation, which actually gives a lot of opportunity for students in a lot of different majors and fields to join Tdot. And I want to promote state government in general. There are so many different agencies that do a lot of different things, and especially with in the engineering school, we actually hire engineers in almost every single agency. So if Tdot's not something you're interested in, but you're interested in state government, we have other agencies that are just a really essential part of our economic system. I like to show our strategic direction. So we recently implemented this in January 2020. And it really is this, what you see on the screen are our values that we work towards as employees of Tdot. So I mentioned that when you are thinking, when you're looking at the mission and vision, why it's so important for employees to have that, the goals and direction. Well, this is having values are important too, and how they align well with us. I think that these values really show our culture and show what's important to us as an organization. So you'll see safety. Safety is one of our #1 priorities. You know, y'all have probably seen some of our workers out on the roads, especially our help trucks, which are the big yellow trucks that help some of our motorists. We unfortunately have lost employees because of the unsafe and hazardous conditions. So safety is priority for us. And even with our young engineers and interns that come on board with us, that is our #1 priority, is to keep our employees and motorists safe as well. Integrity, stewardship, innovation is a huge one. We're always looking for creative ways that we can be more efficient and have better processes in our organization. So we're always looking for new ways to advance and be more competitive. We actually recently implemented an entire electronic construction bid process, which is something that has changed the way we do things. Instead of having a complete paper trail of our projects from start to finish, from the bid and letting process all the way to working on a project and completing the project, we actually have an online portal that is where everything is stored, everything is tracked from start to finish, and that's huge. So really, having innovative ideas and processes, something that our employees, it really drives us every day. Development, whether it's career development, personal development, we are always focused for our employees on that. And collaboration and family, that's a really big one for me, especially working in HR. I work with so many different individuals across the state, and so having that sense of family and that sense of pride of working together is so important. And this is where we really want to focus on diversity and inclusion as well. I like to mention that we are actually finishing up a big project that we're working on. Actually was on the project team, but we're one of the first DOTs to participate in a research project on how DOTs can help improve hiring and recruiting and retention strategies for minorities and women. So that's something that we have focused on. It's been, gosh, almost 3 years now that we started that process. So we partnered with several universities in Tennessee, and they have helped us determine different strategies that we, Tdot, can use, and then also other DOTs can use to have a better focus on diversity and really focusing on how we can progress our organization in a better direction. So I'm really excited about that. But I just like to mention that, as again, these values just really show the culture of Tdot and what's important to us and what's important to me. So to kind of get into the career aspect of it, so Tdot is really broken down into 5 parts. That's the best way to describe it. As I said, we have 4,100 employees, and that's a lot of people to keep up with. So we have to split up our organization somehow. But I really want to show this and kind of get into a little more about these different areas, because I want to I want y'all to ask the question, where do I fit in? And really there can be a place for everyone, regardless of what your major is. I'll be completely honest, my major, I went to University of Tennessee in Knoxville. I was a kinesiology major. I was all set to go to PT school. And I actually just had a life change, and it took me back home to Nashville, and I ended up at Tdot. And it wasn't to say that I didn't use my the skills and knowledge that I learned in school, because I have. It's been so beneficial, but I like to encourage that it's stressful looking for a career, and especially during this time, things are just so unknown. But I want to offer support and just encourage you that if there's a will, there's a way, and there is a place for everyone. So as we're kind of talking through these, if you have questions about a certain area, just please feel free to let me know. But this guy right here in the middle is our commissioner, Commissioner Clay Bright. He started in 2019. We do fall under the governor's office. All state government agencies do. So really our boss's boss is the governor. Kind of cool to think about, but he really runs Tdot, oversees everything. He actually came from one of our consulting firms, so he's had a lot of outside experience that he's brought in, which is really great. But his office, the commissioner's office, is mostly executive staff. So really a lot of the people that he works with up there are helping him run the show. So it's really a lot of elected officials type of positions, but still such an important part of our organization. We also have our administration bureau, our engineering bureau, environment and planning, and regional operations. So this is kind of the makeup of Tdot. It's the best way to put it. Into a structured organization is this way. And so I'd like to go into the Administrative Bureau, Engineering Bureau, and Environment and Regional Operations, just so y'all can see different opportunities that we have there, and really how many different areas of Tdot that we have. Because I think it surprises people sometimes, all the different areas, not just civil engineering, not just our maintenance work, but in all different functions. Okay, so our Administrative Bureau really provides the service and support for Tdot. And so that encompasses our Human Resources Office, Central Services, Finance, Internal Audit, Strategic Planning, Civil Rights, IT, and Procurement. So all of these different offices are in some way or another providing the support to all of our employees and also the public. For example, our Civil Rights Office actually works with a lot of our communities, really focusing on the disadvantaged business enterprises, so minority-owned businesses and community partnerships that we can develop. So really an ideal candidate, if you're interested in working in administration, is if you like working with people. As I said, that was something that really drove me to Tdot. If you have that passion to serve, if giving back and working for service instead of profit is something that really resonates with you, then this might be a good fit. And I put ability to multitask just from professional experience. As we are the service and support system, we have many different things that we do have to provide assistance with. And so if you're someone that's good at organizing and multitasking, then this might be the fit for you. I put some of our majors that we see, not prefer, but more see in our Administration Bureau of Business, Public Admin, Organizational Management, Accounting, Urban Studies, and Education. I will say that we have actually recently been hiring several engineers in our Administrative Bureau. We had an engineer in our office who worked in HR. She helped a lot with our education programs. So we have a master's in civil engineering program. We also have a Reconnect program that is really focused on our employees who have a high school diploma and are interested in furthering their career. We also had a mechanical engineer who worked in our civil rights office and was really working with out in the field with our employees, how we can develop different programs that are geared for minorities and females. So it's really such a wide range of employees and different backgrounds that we have in the administrative bureau that you wouldn't typically think we have. But just something to think about. As I said, the someone who really enjoys working for people and has really good customer service skills, administratively, that might be a good fit for you. Our engineering bureau, which I think will be the most interest here. So our engineering bureau is typically our headquarters for our headquarters location. So most of these positions are located in Nashville, but really they oversee and maintain all of our policies and processes that we have out in the region. So the majors that we typically see there are engineering, business, public administration. And you'll see here in career learning, these are all the different areas where we hire engineers in. You know, it's, as I said, it's kind of surprising to see that, wow, Tdot has so many different areas and so many different specialties of civil engineering that you can use in the real world. So our engineering operations, they really oversee all of our engineering, construction, maintenance, materials and tests. So they're doing a lot of the lab testing on aggregates and soils and concrete. And really, they actually do a lot of training for our employees and contractors as well. Safety, program development, so monitoring the federal funds that come in for Tdot. Aeronautics, I put a little star there because they're actually located in the commissioner's office, kind of confusing, but we hire quite a few engineers in aeronautics to help design our airports throughout the state. We have traffic operations, roadway design, structures, right-of-way, so working with relocation and property owners. Obviously, some of the work that we do might impact property owners on the side of interstates and highways. So the right-of-way division works with a lot of our designers and our construction crew to make sure that we have everything good to go for property owners when we do have to purchase their land. Strategic investments. This division is actually very popular with our young engineers because it is a lot of it's engineering, but it's a lot of business analytics too. So if you're someone that really enjoys working with numbers and tracking items and being kind of the first step of a project, that's a really good place to start at it because they analyze every single project that Tdot has. We've got bid analysis as well, so doing a lot of our estimating and things. So an ideal candidate would be someone who's interested in working in a corporate work environment. As I said, this would be in our headquarters, which is located in Nashville. So you kind of saw a little bit of my office. We're really an open space, but if you enjoy, you know, some engineers and some young professionals would rather be out in the field all the time, and others would rather be in the office. So if you're someone who enjoys the office setting, the engineering bureau might be for you. And you enjoy technical-based work, as I said, really looking at numbers and calculations and kind of fitting the details into the big picture. And someone that likes to work on multiple projects. So Tdot right now, we recently were passed the Improve Act, which gave us the ability to really expand the number of projects that we're able to work on throughout the state. So I think, trying to remember the exact number, but currently we have 962 projects going on, engineering, roadway, bridge related. That's a lot. That's a lot to keep track of. So when you think about all the different areas of Tdot and how each of them have a hand in it, there's so many different projects that are going on. So if you're someone that likes the busy work, likes to fit the pieces together, this would be a really good area for you. And as I said, someone that really enjoys working with closely in a corporate work environment, really more of the business side of operations. And then on the flip side of that, we have our regional operations. So again, our engineering bureau is really that corporate overseeing side. Our regional operations is more in the field side. So if you're someone that really enjoys working outdoors and you have good communication skills and you just know right off the bat that you don't want to be in an office, then regional operations could be a really good place for you. We see a lot of our engineering majors, environmental science, and our construction management majors working more in our regional operations than any other bureau. And regional operations actually where our Chattanooga location would be. We actually just got a new facility out there on Volkswagen Drive. It's very nice. We're really excited about that. But within that location, as well as our regional operations locations in Nashville, Jackson, and Knoxville, we have quite a few different areas. Construction, maintenance, traffic, bridge inspection. So if you are not scared of heights and you want to get in the dirt and look at some bridges and run those numbers and inspect them, bridge inspection is the way to go. We hire quite a few young engineers out there who really enjoy doing that type of work. Materials and tests, we have our own division out there. We have a whole environmental division, environmental unit that works out at regional operations, really doing the field work side of it. So gathering and analyzing data, actually picking up specs and bringing it back to the lab for review. So another kind of getting your hands kind of dirty is this is the area you'd want to be in. Surveying, I know that most engineering students are probably taken some sort of survey course, and if that's something that you really enjoy using those different equipment, survey is a good place. And then we also have our roadway designers and utilities and right-of-way, so really working on those property lines. So some of these areas you've probably seen on our engineering bureau side, and they work hand in hand, but as I said, kind of different functions. In the engineering bureau, they're overseeing it, whereas regional operations, they are actually doing the work. So again, if you're someone who enjoys being outdoors, this might be a good place for you. Okay, our last bureau is in our environmental bureau. So we hire engineers there as well, but typically we do see a lot of environmental science, public administration, urban studies, chemistry, and business. So some of our different offices, they're really focusing on the environmental policy and the planning side of transportation. So we have areas in environment, long-range planning, multimodal, so really working on transit and the pedestrian and cycling walkway programs. And we actually have a new division of freight and logistics, so working on specifically freight planning and railroad planning. So it's a very interesting division, but ideal candidate for that would be someone who really enjoys analyzing data and reports, and someone who can really think outside the box and have that strategic, agile mind. That's really what we're looking for within this division. I talked about some of the values that Tdot has, and being innovative is one of those that especially our commissioner feels very strongly about. And especially with the environment, we have a huge focus on being sustainable and focusing on as transportation, we use a lot of different materials and we have a lot of different construction work, and just focusing on how we can be environmentally friendly and how we can preserve the land of Tennessee while continuing through our projects. So that's something to think about if you're really interested in environment and you're really interested in focusing on that environmental policy, whether you're an engineer, whether you're in construction, whether you're in one of these other majors. This might be somewhere that you could see yourself working. Hopefully we have some students on here who are either sophomores or going to be sophomores or juniors and are maybe looking for internships next summer. Well, we do have a fairly large internship program. And I do have to mention, in response to COVID-19, I believe in end of March is when our workforce started to transition from home. And we were we came upon the fact of what are we going to do with our interns? And so we successfully were able to bring on all of our interns for this summer. So that is something that we are very proud of. All in all, with all of our new GTAs, which I'll explain a little later, and our interns, we virtually onboarded 143 employees. And that's huge, and that's never been done before with Tdot. As you can imagine, there's quite a bit paperwork and training and a lot of different parts and pieces that are involved. And so for us to do that, it took a lot of work, especially from our end in HR. But I was really, really happy to tell the interns that, regardless of COVID-19, we were able to bring them on. So we have half of our interns that are working from home 5 days a week. And then we have the other half that are completely doing remote field work. And so it's kind of that happy medium, but it really has been incredible to see how progressive Tdot was, in the sense that we could bring all of our interns on, and we were really fortunate for that. But so last summer, 2019, we had 80 interns. This summer in 2020, we had 90 interns. So each year we are increasing the program size. And we really invite all majors. I know that, typically Tdot might be known for hiring only civil engineers, maybe environmental, but the intern range for this class was so diverse. We've had civil engineers, we've had mechanical engineers, we've had a few political science majors. And so I hope, as I've kind of gone through the presentation and the different bureaus, you could see how each of those majors could fit and how they could contribute to the Tdot and the organization. So if you're looking for a career learning experience, Tdot's internship really is a great opportunity. As I said, it is typically very hands-on. Our goal is for our students to use the skills and knowledge that they're learning in school and really apply them to real world projects. And so that's something that we had to change up a little bit this year, just with COVID-19, but based on the responses we've had from our interns and supervisors, all interns have had that hands-on experience. They're still getting to go out and do site visits with some of the construction crew. If they're working from home, they're working directly on project plans and the software and applications that Tdot employees are using. So we don't feel that it was limited this summer, but also this might be something that's the new normal for us. We're just not sure, but it really is a great opportunity if you're looking to get an introduction into transportation, into state government, even if you're exploring different industries. So as I said, we've hired interns in virtually every single area that I mentioned before. We have interns who work in our strategic transportation investments division, really getting into the numbers and the data for our projects. We have interns, trying to think of some in our Civil Rights Division, as I mentioned, a mechanical engineer who's really enjoyed getting to work out into the field. And really, I want to mention a big part of the intern program in the past has been our community outreach. We typically have our interns involved in several events throughout the summer. Last summer, we went to Second Harvest Food Bank, as you can see up here in the left picture. This summer, we unfortunately did have to halt that, but we are hopeful that next summer we can continue that part of the program because we have just so much positive feedback from that. And it really gives our interns the opportunity to connect and network with not just the interns in their office, but the interns throughout the state. You'll see here on the right, this is from last summer. This are our interns at one of our bridge projects. As you can see, we had quite a few out there, so it's a pretty big event. Down here at the left, we have 3 of our interns who worked here at headquarters, Capitol behind them. And then here at the bottom, we have our interns who got to visit the governor's residence last summer. So they really enjoyed that. I believe the First Lady came and spoke to them. They were pretty excited about that. But for anything with our intern program, the biggest focus for us is giving that hands-on training. We don't want our interns just scanning and filing documents. We really, as you can see, as I mentioned, we have a lot of projects that we're working on, and we need the help, and we want you to help, and we want you to learn. And I will mention it is part-time. It is during the summer. We do co-ops on a case-by-case basis, but typically our summer program is the best opportunity for you to have that career learning. And it is paid as well. And we were fortunate that we were able to continue the paid summer internship throughout this summer as well. So if you're interested in internship with Tdot, my suggestion would be to reach out to the Tdot Careers email account, which I'll give you that information here at the end so that you can be added to a list. I also, every spring, I send an email to Nicole and Julie, kind of informing them about our internship positions, but we actually are going to be having applications open in spring 2021. So typically January is when we post those positions. They'll stay open for about a month and a half. Pretty easy application process. But I have a feeling that I'll be hopefully back to UTC to kind of talk to y'all a little more about the application process once it becomes available. But I like to keep a running list of students that are interested in the internship program. So I definitely encourage you to reach out to me so I can add you to that so that you can get a personal notification on when those applications are available. So again, just really, really great opportunity for interns. You know, as I said, we've really progressed throughout the year. In 2015, we had 24 interns and now we're up to 90. So we encourage all of our units out in the field, in the office, to have at least one intern a summer. So if there's an area in Tdot that you're interested in and they haven't had an intern, well, that's something that I work on. I convince them to have an intern and what the benefits are and how it's beneficial for you as a student. So if you have specific questions about internship, want to get on the list, feel free to contact me or the Tdot Careers email account after this presentation. I want to talk a little bit about our GTA program. So this is for our civil engineers. We do, the bulk of our operations positions are civil engineering opportunities. So we offer a really great professional development program for entry-level engineers. So whether you have a bachelor's in civil engineering or master's in civil engineering and you are looking for a full-time opportunity, this is a great way to get introduced to the civil engineering industry and field. And really providing that entry-level training. We make sure that each GTA is what we call them. It stands for Graduate Transportation Associate, but GTA for short, but we ensure that our GTAs are either directly under or indirectly under a PE. Because we want to stress the importance of that of achieving the next step in your career after graduating school is becoming a professional engineer. So we really like to ensure that so that you have that optimal training for career progression. We have a really great professional development sequence within the GTA program. So we actually partner with, right now we partner with Lipscomb University on a training week. So all of our GTAs will go through a week-long training where they focus on professional development and soft skills, such as teamwork and leadership. We take a lot of different classes within that. So we've offered some like emotional intelligence, negotiation, design thinking, really focusing on our engineers and how they can develop themselves within Tdot, and not just as a Tdot employee, but as an engineer as well. So you'll see here's one of the pictures of our engineers working on an activity at the training week. This is one of our GTAs from several years ago. He actually, here at the left top, he started as a GTA and he was promoted fairly quickly within several years to our field supervisor. So here he is. We snapped this shot of him patrolling his crew and the site. I believe he was in West Tennessee, but just really we've recognized that there should be a focus on young professionals and the development that we can offer for them. And so this is really our first step to that. Hopefully in the future, we can incorporate different opportunities and positions within this program. But for right now, it is for civil engineers. So if you are interested, if you are a graduating senior, whether it's in December or May, we typically post these positions twice a year. So we're coming up in August that we hopefully will have some positions ready. I'm going to share that information with Nicole, so she will have that. As I said, due to COVID-19, we're still trying to figure out just our hiring efforts and what our priorities can be, but we will have several opportunities for GTAs and for hiring GTAs for December graduates and May graduates. But another big opportunity for this program is the career advancement. So it's a year-long program, so you start as a GTA. If you pass the FE exam, we do require that within 11 months, and you complete the program requirements, so attending the training weeks, doing some of our other additional requirements, attending networking events, then you can promote to the working level civil engineer. So kind of a nice promotional opportunity, little salary increase as well. And also just generally a really good opportunity to engage with your peers and get to know other professionals across the state and just how the different backgrounds and the different students and individuals that we've hired. So this is really a really great program if you are a civil engineer and you're looking to have a good introduction to that field and to different areas. So we hire GTAs within all of the different engineering areas that I talked about earlier. So whether you're interested in construction, if you're interested in design or bridge inspection, there's an opportunity for you there. We typically try to hire GTAs, as I said, twice a year, and we like to have at least 1 or 2 opportunities in each of those areas throughout the state. So I've covered a lot of information, and as I said, this was my first virtual recruiting event. I know it was a lot, but if you have questions or if you want to know more about Tdot, the best way is to, one, look at our Tdot primer. I have a link here, and I'll send this PowerPoint to Nicole as well. But it really covers everything you need to know about Tdot. A lot of the things I covered today, but even more in detail. We've got interesting facts on there. It's really a magazine for Tdot. So if you want to know how Tdot is funded. Well, we're funded by gas tax and federal dollars as well. Or if you want to know the specific projects that we're working on, or even more in-depth description of the different opportunities that we have throughout the state, that would be the place for you to look. Oops. Our Tdot careers page is where we are going to include all of our available opportunities. Right now, we do not have any positions open just because we're looking to hire in the fall and the spring and the summer of next year. So for students, I definitely encourage you again to reach out to the Tdot careers account. That account is managed by me, so it comes directly to me. You can email me as well, but that's the best way to be added to the list so that you can receive a personal notification when either internship positions are available or GTA positions are available. And then also if you don't get the link to this for some reason, you can always Google Tdot careers. Our website pops up. Check us out on LinkedIn. We try to post on our different opportunities as well as different news and events with Tdot. Indeed, we also post all of our upcoming positions if you're interested there. And then Handshake as well. We try to use that with all the universities that utilize that platform. So please feel free to reach out. Before we end this presentation, I'd like to leave y'all with some advice from me just as a professional. This is not research-based information. This is just from professional and personal experience and things that I wish I was told as I was a student transitioning from school to work. And even if you are a student who is just wanting an internship, I think these can all apply to you. So first, go with the job, not the money. Money is important. It's definitely a driving factor, and it should be, but don't make it the most important factor. If you are weighing your options at a job and which job you can take, and your number one reason for a job is the money, I can almost guarantee you're not going to be the happiest there. Just as I said, from personal and professional experience, from me, from others, really take the time to understand the organization that you're going to work for. As I said, a key is looking at the mission and vision, seeing what their website has, ask what their values are, and how that it can align well with yours. I think that's something that can really help you determine what best fit and what your career path should be. So again, just something to consider even in the interview process. If something doesn't feel right in the interview, it's normally a good sign that it might not work out for you, or it might be something's just off with that organization or that work environment. So really trust your gut. That's really what I'm trying to say. But I just like to mention that just because as a student, I completely understand money is very important, but just something to think about, and something I wish that I'd been told as a student. Next is promotions does not equal career growth. I think as a student, you're told that there's a certain line, or you can be told that career path is pretty set in stone, and here's what you need to do to get to the next step. And even with Tdot, we have a very structured next step promotions. But I think having that understanding that that you don't have to go to a new role, you don't have to get a salary increase, and you don't have to supervise someone for it to be a career growth. Think of the different projects that you could work on, or the different responsibilities that you're given. Think of the professional development that you can have. Really going out of your way to focus on your own development can almost be a greater impact than any other promotion. So try to think about that as you are looking into transitioning to work, and what kind of industry and organization you want to work for. you might want to look at the career path, and it's important to do that as well, to show where you can advance typically in a career, but also look at the different work that you could be doing and what type of development that they offer. For example, with the intern program, all the different networking opportunities. So really keep a broad view on what career growth can mean to you. And that can really open the doors for you in so many different ways. I say find a mentor and be a mentor. As someone who has had several mentors throughout my career, it's something that has really helped me and really showed the importance of professional development and growing yourself as an individual. So I really encourage you to find someone that you would want to work under for a long period of time, and how they can really help you throughout your career. And not just even if you transition to a different organization or company. I still talk with my old supervisor at my last job, because we really connected in a professional way that they've been beneficial for me throughout the last several years. So if you find someone that could really be that mentor for you, make sure you let them know that that's what you consider them to be. And then always just return the favor, be a mentor to someone else, train someone else, take someone under your wing. It really can be so important for your career, and as you're progressing through being in school and to work. Always try to connect with your peers. Work is obviously a huge priority, but don't underestimate the value of having a good work environment and connecting with people around you, especially those who are very similar to you, whether it's in job or whether it's in background. So really take that opportunity to connect. Always take initiative. It can be scary if you, like me, I'm an introvert. I don't like to go out, and I can really struggle with really not being social, just being more open-minded and more out of the box. But and it can be scary to do that at times, but really trying to think in situations as you're going into internships and as you're starting your full-time job, really try to think with that mindset of taking initiative, and how can you think outside the box? How can you go outside your comfort zone? You'll learn so much about yourself, and you'll really it'll really show you how you fit in that organization, and how you can fit in the industry that you're in. And always ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't go ahead and do something at work or in school that you don't understand. So with that, does anyone have any questions? Whoops. Okay.
You were wonderful, by the way. Your presentation was fantastic, and your last slide with suggestions and everything, I already had some different things I was going to ask, but you went ahead and covered it. Kind of advice for students on during their job search on like what they should be looking for, and you went over all of that. So I appreciate it, and I love that you talked about, like, I guess, traits and qualities that would be best for ideal candidates in each division. That was really helpful too. And of course, I'll share the careers at Tennessee.gov, the Tdot. I'll share that, because I'm sure we'll have some students who will want to be on that notification list. And then I had one question, because you mentioned the research project at the beginning. Are you guys going to be able to share that in some way? Like, if I would want to read it, if you're able to do that, just because I think that'd be interesting, since it sounds like it would be something a lot of students and even maybe some of our faculty and staff may want to
Yeah,
take a look at.
absolutely. So we'll share a condensed version of that.
Mhm.
But no, that's something that we plan to share. As I said, we're really excited about it. It's something that, as I said, we're the first DOT to do that. And it's something that we should have focused on long ago. But, we're taking that first step. In the best direction for TDOT and for other state agencies as well. So I think we will release, as I said, a more condensed version, but especially I think it'd be so beneficial for universities as well.
And just as a heads up, which I'll send you some information, I think you've helped with some of our professional development events like Resume Doctor, Backpack Briefcase. We're still going to have those in a virtual
Okay,
setting. So I'll
awesome.
send you some information about that once we have the finalized route we're going to take. And if you are available, we'd love to have you as one of our volunteers. So
Oh yeah,
um,
absolutely.
and thank you so much for the information about the GTA program and how we may have some stuff open in August. I'm really glad to hear that you still had interns over the summer,
Mhm.
because I know a lot of companies had to eliminate, but it sounds like you guys found an alternative route to be able to keep those students on board and to gain some experience. So that's really good too.
Yeah, as I said, we were really fortunate that we were able to do that, and it's taken a lot of planning on our end. But yeah, it's I think it's been so beneficial for the interns, and for the students. We've had students all across the country come in, and for them to be able to do some of that work remote, or to be in a safe environment, was just huge for us.
That's great. We are hoping to eventually have representatives on campus again. I don't know when that will be, but if you're interested in participating in another one of these a little further into the fall semester, we'd love to have you again. And you are welcome if you want to have anybody else join you because they can share their screen as well. If you want to
Mhm.
do that on the next one, you can. So you did great.
Oh,
I don't know if
thanks.
you're able to send me the slides, but if you're
Yeah.
able to give me those like via email, I would love to share that too.
Absolutely, yeah. I will send you. I'll send you the link to it and the PDF version, so you can have that. And yeah, these are. It's a little scary doing it virtually. I'm so
Oh, you
used.
did
I'm
so good.
so
You said
used
your
to
first
being in a
one.
classroom. Yeah,
You did just, I mean, I've seen you in person too, and I
yeah.
couldn't even tell a difference. It was just
Good,
like you were
good.
there on campus. So you
Thank
did
you.
so good. You're welcome. Well, I don't know if you need the recording, but if you do for any reason, just let me know. I will see if anybody else has questions at the end um, here before I stop the recording, and then I'll share it with students a little bit later today. Julie, do you have any questions?
I was going to jump on here after you stopped the recording. So then I just heard you say you hadn't stopped it. So
Going to.